today. And I know you're familiar with what Boys and Girls Clubs do across the country, but we just felt very honored for you to be here at our own local Boys and Girls Clubs. And we are the largest Boys and Girls Club in the county, one of the largest throughout the nation. There's 99 major metro organizations throughout the United States, and we're one of them right here in Oxnard and Port Wayne.
That's terrific.
Yeah, and the way that that's determined is based on budget size and numbers of kids served. And that's what's really unique about Boys and Girls Clubs is we are able to look at the needs of our community and really tailor our programs and the types of services that we provide based on the needs of our community. And this is a needy community with some very specific needs for our youngsters. And so our board of directors is really great at identifying those needs and filling those holes and those gaps with programs that are going to help those kids onto a great path. So if everybody just wants to take a moment to introduce themselves. I met you just a second ago, but I'm Erin Antrim, CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Oxnard and Port Wayne.
Hi, welcome. I'm Richard Duarte and currently the chair of our board for 2 more days.
Well, thank you for your service.
Mike Barber, board member.
Tony Belanti, board member.
Frank Wasson, board member, new board member, in about 3 months.
Robert Page, board member.
Steve Kenny, also a board member.
Well, thank you all for the good work that you do for our community. Really wonderful.
Yeah, they put in, these guys and gals, we have a board of about 25 volunteers, and they put in a lot of hard work to raise the funds that are necessary to run the programs. And we serve 9,000 kids in this community, 9,000 kids in Oxnard and Port Wayne. And age ranges from 6 to 18 years old, and then we have some specialized programs. And we serve them through 3 clubhouse operations. So this is our largest of our clubhouses. It was built in 1999. And we've been serving kids in this community for 61 years. Our very first location was the Harriet Samuelson Boys and Girls Club on 7th Street, which is now a teen center. So about 2 years ago, we made the decision to kind of break off programming and do some more age-appropriate programming. So this clubhouse serves young people ages 6 to 12, and the teen center serves young people ages 13 to 18. So very unique, very diversified. We have a location in Port Wayne, which is another full-service clubhouse. Unfortunately, that's been shut down for about a year, a little over a year. There was CDBG funds that went into resurface the outside of that building and the inside of the building, inside of the gym. The city has decided to sell us that building, so that's really, really great. But with that comes some capital needs. So we're looking at what's the capacity. We're doing a feasibility study right now on capital campaign and what's the capacity for us to raise money in that community, not only for that building, but for maintenance needs of all of our buildings. You know, 220 kids a day in each clubhouse takes a tear on your buildings, and there's a lot of usage and a lot of kid usage, which is different than adult usage, so it does take a tear on the buildings. And then we have 12 school sites in all of the Rio and the Ocean View schools. We have a Boys and Girls Club in the Squires Public Housing Unit and a Boys and Girls Club in the federally designated low poverty area of Nyland Acres. And so the County of Ventura recently just gave us $150,000 a year to operate that site. So that's...
So are all of them open during the summer from
Yes.
morning till evening?
Everyone is a little bit different depending on A, the funding source, and B, the needs of the community. All the traditional clubhouses are open from 7 to 6 because summertime is really when parents need us most, but it's also an opportunity for us to be able to provide a deeper impact with the children and to eliminate some of the summer learning loss. Our school sites are open about 6 hours a day, and then our Ocean View school site doesn't have any after-school programming because there's no ACES funding for supplemental summer at that site, but there is in the Rio. So just kind of varies depending on the site. And the types of things that we do here, I'm going to show you a quick video. It's about 6 minutes. It just gives you a general overview of our organization, of the types of programs that we run, and the young people that we serve. And then we can just kind of go around and do some Q&A.
Okay, great.
Okay. Welcome. I'm Erin Antrim, President and CEO for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Oxnard and Port Wayne, and I'm a mom. Every day it touches my heart that thousands of young people walk through our doors instead of going home to an empty house or roaming the streets. The clubs provide a safe place
where young people can realize their full potential as productive, responsible, caring citizens. Our club members say we are their home away from home, or their second family. From young ones all the way up through high school seniors, great futures do start here. The Boys and Girls Clubs goes where the kids are. Our facilities include 3 full-service clubs, a special club for incarcerated youth, the first of its kind in California, a location inside the Squires Public Housing Unit, and 1 club in Nyland Acres. Plus, we offer after-school programs at 12 school sites in the West County. That's over 9,000 kids, year-round, 5 days a week. We never turn a child away for lack of money. Today's club offers so much more than it did in the past. Let's look at some highlights. Great futures start with education. So every day after school, we begin with Power Hour. First, a healthy snack. Then it's time for academics. We provide homework assistance, tutoring programs, online remediation through a skills tutor computer program, and encouragement to read, read, read. Summer programs that address critical summer learning loss. We also offer Hardy Brain Training. This innovative, metronome-based program improves mental processing for better reading and math grades. We inspire kids to think about college starting in middle school and advocate for their inclusion in college track courses. Our College Bound program brings kids together for weekly meetings, to go on campus tours, and provide sound advice. For many, attending college is a family first. We support them as they navigate the complex process of applying, writing admissions essays, and obtaining financial aid. With high school guidance counselors overworked these days, this is a vital public service. Our youth empowerment program coaches low-income kids ages 16 to 21 in how to find a job. They learn how to write a resume, research job openings, and conduct themselves in a job interview. For kids with special barriers, such as foster children, teen parents, or those with disabilities, we offer support that can include vocational development, a financial stipend, and even providing proper work attire. To make teens comfortable, we have our very own Teen Center, open till 8 p.m. It's a safe place for kids ages 13 to 18 to relax, study, play games, and make friends. They also go on field trips like camping, Dodgers games, Magic Mountain, Griffith Observatory, and much more. We encourage healthy lifestyles with programs such as cooking classes, managing money, sports, sailing lessons, and junior lifeguard training. Teaching leadership is embedded into everything we do, but we're especially proud of our entrepreneurship program. Members learn how to start and operate a small business. They write a business plan which they submit and defend before a panel of judges. Winners receive seed money to start their business and a chance to compete for a national prize. We're so proud of Shamari Patterson, who won second place in the national competition. Here she offers advice to our next group of budding entrepreneurs. We foster creativity with the arts. Members can learn a musical instrument, participate in choir singing, play in a small band, perform with our Voices of Hope choir, cut a record in our sophisticated recording studio, and learn modern production techniques. We teach visual arts at every club location. And let's not forget fun, the key to every kid's heart. We provide a rich, safe play environment every single day. To keep it interesting, we sponsor special events like a visit from an NBA player, a professional storyteller,
I sail the 7 seas,
or our annual Day for Kids. An independent study conducted at CLU shows club kids do much better than their non-club peers. Here are 3 highlights. All this bodes well for their futures.
And what are their dreams? I'm going to be a probation officer.
I want to be a firefighter.
I want to be a lawyer. I'm going to be an astronomer. I'm going to be a neurologist.
I'm going to be a policeman.
Dental hygienist.
Teacher. I'm going to be a nurse.
Automotive technician.
Psychiatrist.
President of the United States.
Police officer.
I'm going to be a singer.
So please join the Boys and Girls Club movement to strengthen our communities. Your support means children, especially those who need us most, will get the crucial support they need to stay in school, achieve their dreams, and be productive, responsible, healthy citizens. Great futures do start here, but not without your support. Thank you.
They're gonna show it as a video?
They might.
So we have 154 staff members, the majority of them being part-time mentors that work with the young people, and then we have about 17 full-time staff. Just a couple highlights from that video that I wanted to point out. Our membership fees are only $20 a year, and so although the actual cost to us is a little over $500, membership fees only $20 a year, and that's because our mission is to serve those kids who need us most. So we're not going to charge high membership fees because we can't access those kids who need us most. And even for young people who can't afford that $20, which a lot, when I'm out in the community, some people tell me, what do you mean people can't afford $20? But when you have 5 children, that $20 or that $100 can be used to put groceries on the table. So if anybody can't afford that $20, we certainly do not charge any fees. During the summer and on non-school days, we have day camp programs. We're open from 7 to 6. Not only to benefit our young people, but to benefit the families in this community. And a couple other things that I wanted to point out is some things that I know that you would be interested in. We get, last year we got about $47,000 in Office of Justice programs money, and that's mentoring money, which enables our staff to be able to work with the young people on a smaller basis and really get entrenched into mentoring and finding out what the needs of that individual are and their families are, and to be able to wrap services around them. So that's critical funding for us. It mentioned our youth empowerment program. That program is funded through the Department of Labor, and so that money comes down through the local workforce investment board and then comes to us as a youth contractor. We've been doing that for about 12 years now, and we have great evidence that shows that not only our general programs work, but our workforce programs work. We have very high entered employment rates. We have very high rates of kids getting credentials, meaning a high school diploma or a vocational certificate, depending on the needs that they come in with. And then most of our kids, about 98% of our kids, are exceeding grade level. So they come in at a certain grade level, and we work with them intensively on not only our skills tutor program, but through some other software programs that we have, and it enables them to at least go up 1 grade level, which is really, really important for us because academic success is a key pillar to everything that we do. Although we're not school and we don't want to be school, it's important that we support the academic needs of our young people, because without that they can't succeed. And I'm sure that you saw that our graduation rate of our young people is 96%, although we want that to be 100. So we're striving towards that. And then we used to have 21st century funding up until about a year ago. Last May, we found out that our 21st century funding was eliminated. So
is that federal funding?
Yes, yes. And so that was about $1 million, about $950,000 that supported our after-school programs. We used to have dual funding. One was ACES and one was 21st century. The 21st century funding, unfortunately, was eliminated, not due to performance on our part, but there was no after-school programs that were funded with 21st century monies in the whole county of Ventura. So we do still have our ACES funding.
Was it, so is it money that, I apologize for not knowing about this money source, but the federal government was still providing the money, but just all of the after-school programs in Ventura County did not qualify for it this time, or?
We reapplied and we just weren't chosen.
So do you know why?
No, not really. We asked for a lot of feedback. They just said that the appropriations were cut. We don't know to what extent that they were cut, and I don't know what other boys and girls, what other after-school providers in Ventura County were cut either. But there was multiple after-school providers providing after-school programs through 21st century, and they were all eliminated in Ventura County. But we weren't told it had something to do with Ventura County. It's just that the appropriations were cut. So we'll have the opportunity.
We should look into that to find out, get to the bottom of it. It sounds like it's $1 million, you said, right? So that's a big.
It's a big chunk. It affected the numbers of youth served, and that really pertained to our Rio school district sites. So we had to almost cut the numbers of kids served at those sites in half. The school district did supplement a little bit with some local control formula funding, but still it's about an 80% reduction in the number of kids served. And so we'll be able to reapply in about 3 years, and so we're hoping that we'll be able to get that back, because so we can't make the impact that we do without, you know, those dollar sources.
And why can't you reapply for 3 more years?
That's just the cycle.
I see.
Yeah, that's just the cycle. So we will at the earliest opportunity. And then I just wanted to draw your attention behind you in that trophy case is those are national awards from Boys and Girls Clubs of America. So we're the only club, certainly in the county, maybe one of the only clubs across the country that has a merit award in each core program area. So sports, fitness, and recreation, the arts, character and leadership development, music. We really are proud of that. We just recently got 2 for our entrepreneurship program and our sailing program. And we're very proud of that, because the quality of our programs is very high, and it's very rigorous on how we vet new programs and how we bring programs into the club, and then how we look at the impact that those programs are making on our youngsters.
Very good. You should be very proud.
Yeah, we're very proud of that. So just wanted to open it up to any questions, or let the board members have an opportunity to be able to ask any questions or share what we do.
Just in years past, the Office of Juvenile Justice had a fairly good, substantial amount that was allocated to Boys and Girls Club. That's been cut over the years, and I'm not sure what the current status is.
And that's federal resources too?
That's federal dollars, yeah. I'm not sure what the current status is, but it may be on the block as well.
Well, we will definitely look into this, because it's, you know, that's what I advocate for every single day, is to try to bring more resources into Ventura County, and to hear that you've lost resources, you know, and I'll do everything I possibly can to reverse that. So, and you know, if there are any, you know, any other grants that might be out there that you could apply for that maybe, you know, you haven't explored, or we can be of assistance with that too.
Great, yeah, and I appreciate that. We do a lot of work with juvenile offenders. I'm sure you saw in there, we have the first Boys and Girls Club in a juvenile hall in the state of California. And we really are a thought leader in that area, because now there's about 5 Boys and Girls Clubs inside of juvenile halls throughout the state of California.
So what services do they provide? Recreational services, or homework, or both?
It's a typical Boys and Girls Club in all senses. We have social recreation, we have arts, we have college bound, we have vocational training, we teach kids how to write resumes and develop cover letters, we do mock interviewing with them, we do our Hardy Brain Training Program, which is a metronome training program to kind of get the brain timing aligned for some of those young people, and hopefully get them off of some of the medications that they're on. And then we partner. So what we've done in the past, we don't currently have it. We used to be funded through the Office of Justice Program's Second Chance Act. And we've had that funding really since 2007, but they're 3-year terms. So we had it, and then it went away, and then we had it again, and it went away again. But we're always looking. We have reentry programs for juvenile offenders. So we wrap services around them and their families, and it's a very interesting model and proven to work, because it's intensive aftercare. So we start working with the kids for about 90 days while they're still incarcerated. And these are not low-level offenders. These are not 707B offenders, you know, the real violent offenders, but they are definitely not low-level offenses.
Yeah, I've been to the facilities.
Yeah, and our probation department is so great to us, and such a great partner. And we work with them through that critical transition period, and then back out into the community. So we wrap the supports around them, and we show them pro-social activities in an alternative. And we also have currently a evening reporting center. So in lieu of incarceration under the Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative, the kids come to the teen center for a mandatory time of 30 to 45 days. And we have about 70% of those kids that return after their mandatory time. And to me, that's crucial to what we do in our teenager space, because those kids a lot of times haven't had positive role models, and a lot of times they haven't had the opportunity to explore some of the things that we teach them. They haven't had the opportunity to go to the Getty Center, and they haven't had the opportunity to go to the beach a lot of times. So we really, not only do we put caring adult mentors in front of them, but we provide them with those opportunities and that reassurance and that reinforcement that anything that they put their mind to, we will help them succeed. So we have a lot of programs having to do with juvenile offenders, which we're really proud of as well.
Very good. Very good.
So I would like to follow up a little bit on what you said about losing that grant. So all the school sites, they've had to reduce the number of kids that can go to the after-school program. So I mean, if there's a school of 350 students, they can only get, what is it, about 60?
60.
So there's huge waiting lists.
Sure.
And you talk to the parents and, you know, they work maybe 2 jobs, they work till 5, 6 o'clock at night. The kids get out of school at 2:30, they have nowhere to go. The funding was cut. And so what do? They go home and watch TV till their parents get home or get in trouble or hang around. That's why it's so vital for these programs to get these kids engaged. And the other thing is, especially out in the Rio School District, there's a lot of the indigenous people, and a lot of them can't read and write. And so their kids are in school, and you know they have problems, and they can't figure it out. And they can't go home to their parents because their parents don't understand. They don't read. They can't help them. So it's so vital that they can go to the after-school programs and get help with their homework, and you know to help them proceed in their education.
Yeah. Well, I completely hear you on it, and you know, before I was in Congress, I was in the state legislature. I chaired the education committee in the state legislature, and before that, I was a school board member for 12 years. So, I mean, I really understand the important role that you play, and the important role of that sort of early intervention with kids, and to have important thriving after-school programs, because you're right, if they're not, you know, if they have no place to go, they're going to go up to the streets or go home, you know, get into trouble, and you know, it's just so critical that we as a community provide, you know, provide those resources. So, you know, I'm a believer, and I didn't know about the, you know, the loss of these resources. So, as I said, we will definitely look into it and get back to you to understand exactly, you know, what happened, and to see if there's any, you know, other opportunities that are coming up. One thing that one bill that we might be voting on when I go back, at least for the month of July, is the ESEA reauthorization, which is the you know, public school federal dollar package. I have no idea at the moment what's in there with regards to resources for after-school programs, but we will, you know, we'll definitely check into that too. I know many times when there's a Boys and Girls Club at a school site, and there's many of them, obviously, that you are partnering with throughout the county, that, you know, there's shared resources that can be done to help to expedite what you're doing specifically at a particular school site for kids. So.
One other big event that we have, you heard about the Port Marine. We were able to buy that for $1 from the city. We're looking to do a capital campaign. We've done the outside, and we want to do the inside. And I took the liberties of inviting Gary Erickson here. He's doing a lot of stuff for us, probably. And of course, the building that we have in Marine, he started that when he was on the planning commission for the city. So it's a 40-year-old building.
How many square feet?
It's
About 16,000.
16,000.
So it's a large size and a well-utilized Boys and Girls Club. Prior to it being shut down, we had about 160 kids.
It's right next to a school.
And
elementary or middle?
Elementary, Bard
Uh-huh.
Elementary. And right now, the kids are not, it's closed. And we want to open it up as soon as we can. So we're looking at some other things. So it's building, also looking at capital campaign.
So what kind of, how much capital do you need to do to redo the?
We're doing a feasibility study right now, but it looks like it's going to be somewhere between probably $1 million and $1.5 million.
And I remember those caps used to get us all that, juvenile justice money. And it was somewhere up in the neighborhood of 220,000,
It should be about
230, and you can see how much it has
Yeah.
declined. So,
Well, I know across the board, in terms of the federal government, there's just been reductions,
Yes.
you know, across the board.
Yes.
And, but I promise you I'll do everything humanly possible to see.
on the
if we
side,
can.
thank you for what you're doing with the veterans. Really appreciate that. That's one of my big feelings.
Yeah.
I think the best thing about these clubhouses is seeing the kids in action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
You gotta see them.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Just
so
walking
cute.
through here, I got a big hug and,
Yeah.
but you know, you can see a lot of happy, engaged faces, so it's very, very nice.
The one thing I would want to throw in, because I can't really speak to the grants and the federal funding part of it, but things that Aaron has done and Richard with the board is trying to create much more bought-in corporate involvement. So myself, I work for a local financial institution. Many of you actually have side jobs, I guess, when you're not supporting the Boys and Girls Club. And the thing I would always want to look for is for our Congress to kind of help create the environment so that it makes sense for businesses to be corporately engaged with local entities like this. Now, I certainly think the federal and state governments can provide a lot of grant money and all that type of thing, but nothing sells more than local businesses getting involved with these types of operations because they get it, they want to invest in the local children because they are the future, and you know, $1 invested at the elementary is worth 10 times, or probably more than that, than dollars you have to invest when they're teenagers or even older. So we would just like to create a better atmosphere corporate that would, you know what, it makes sense to pour more money into that.
Well, Julie, the Wainimi thing too, you know, one of the interesting things about when you're trying to get the capital money, that's really going to serve that community for 20 years, 25 years. So it's relatively speaking, it's not a lot of money, $1 million, $1.5 million to do it. But the reality is, in that community particularly, there just aren't other alternatives. The city really doesn't operate any kind of recreation program. And probably on a per capita basis, the utilization of that facility, the number of kids that came in from that neighborhood that serves Wainimi, but also South Oxnard, a lot of the kids from South Oxnard come in there. And those are both really high need. And a lot of our veterans, kids from our vet groups are there. So we want to get that opened as quickly as we can. We may try to do it in some stages, but again, a gift there really is, you're making a gift for 20, 25 years to make things work. So it's a long-term strategy.
And the Port of Wainimi, the city of the Port of Wainimi doesn't provide any parks and rec programs at all?
Minimally, yeah.
Minimally, yeah.
When it was originally built back, I was only 12 years old when I was running, when I was on the board.
I was only about 15 years old.
But literally it was built with redevelopment money back in the days when they had that, and the concept was that it would be a facility that could be used by the Parks and Rec Department and by the Boys Club. It was just the Boys Club back in those days. So the hours it wasn't used by the Boys Club, it was used for the recreation. And over, that was 40 years ago, and the building, the city did put in $500,000 though to improve the exterior of the building. But our challenge now is to go in and get the interior ready. I mean, there's no equipment there. There are a lot of wiring and things of that nature that just need to be upgraded to make sure it's safe and everything else. But I think that is a program that the number of kids and families that will be served by that. When we were before the city council, things you don't think about. This one woman was exclaiming that when it was closed, what an impact it had. She worked hard. She worked 2 jobs. She says it's now costing me $400 a month to take care of my kids that come out of that school. It was right next to the Boys Club, so the kids could actually go there for the $20.
But
so
what
in terms of
$400 would mean to that family.
it was everything for her,
And she lived she worked in Ventura, had to come all the way back.
Pick up the kids and then drive them home, and then so there are so many of those families there that if we can get those kinds of after-school programs in place, it's not only helping the kids, but it's also helping the whole economic issue for those families. And so that's a pretty good buy-in.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And in your packet, I've included not only kind of a one-page on our organization, but also our latest economic impact report. For every dollar invested into Boys and Girls Clubs here locally, countywide, it's a return on investment of $15. But here locally in Oxnard, the return on investment is $17. So that's a great return on investment. And to Frank's point, for corporations and individuals to invest in our organization, the return is so great.
Well, Frank, your point about, looking at something to nurture and leverage the interest of small and larger businesses in the community to pony up is an interesting one. And I will look into that too to see if there is any existing legislation, or if there's any legislation out there, or if there's legislation that we could possibly craft. So, we do lots of tax credit kinds of things for hiring veterans and others. Certainly we should nurture our communities and nurture partnerships in our communities too. So,
absolutely. All right, so now we can get on to the fun part.
Can I offer just one thing? And this is just, I've learned a big word in the last couple of years, and it's called collaboration. There are so many organizations trying to help with the community. Why can't we all get together under the Boys and Girls Club and not have duplicate overheads? I was over at the PAL program today. Here's, right in this city, there's 350 kids that come there. If it was all under one roof, then I think that businesses, because everybody's coming to everybody to try and ask for money. So it's just, how can we as the Boys and Girls Club go out to those organizations and say, why not run under our umbrella?
but the seats at PAL, they're important seats too, and it is a matter of making sure that, at least in my opinion, that the community can support every child's needs, so that there's not a child in our community that doesn't have a place to go, that there is a place for a child to go and for their families to take them. And I think PAL plays an important role in that. Boys and Girls Club, plays a huge role, because just the scope and size of what you're doing. But I'm sure there are other, churches and other things in the community that are also playing an important role.
The major problem with the challenge, there's still 35,000 or 40,000 kids that we need to reach.
Yeah.
And we haven't been able to reach,
Yeah.
So what do we do?
Yeah.
Great. Well, now the fun part, where there's a lot of beaming summer activities going on out there, and lots of smiles. When she came in, she was greeted with a hug from a little guy. Just kind of ran up to her and gave her the biggest hug.
There you go.